You know, deep inside the book of Revelation, probably one of the most mysterious parts of the Bible, there's a message. A message so powerful, so secret, that an angel basically told the Apostle John to put it under lock and key. We're talking about the 7 thunders.
So picture this. The Apostle John is in the middle of this epic, history-defining vision. He hears 7 thunders speak, and just as he's about to write it all down, a voice from heaven booms, "Stop, seal it up, do not write it." I mean, talk about a divine cliffhanger.
And that command just leaves us hanging with these 2 massive questions that people have been wrestling with for centuries. First, what on earth did the thunder say? And second, why was it so important to keep it a secret right at that moment? Well, that's the mystery we are going to unlock together.
Okay, to really get this, we kind of have to put ourselves there with John. He's watching these incredible cosmic events unfold, and then he hears these 7 thunders. And here's the thing you have to know about the Bible. Thunder is almost never just, weather.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in places like Psalm 29, which says, "The God of glory thunders." So what John is hearing isn't just a loud noise. It's nothing less than the voice of God. And it's expressing something really deep about his justice. This isn't about some cold, detached punishment. It's about a righteous judgment that's perfectly balanced.
Now here's where it gets really fascinating. This whole command to seal something up, it's not a one-time thing. Not at all. It's actually a pattern, a theme that's woven all through the prophetic books of the Bible. For example, let's go back a few centuries before John, to the prophet Daniel. He gets these absolutely mind-blowing visions about the future, and what is he told to do? Almost the exact same thing. Shut up the words and seal the book until a much later time.
And it's not just Daniel. The prophet Isaiah also talks about a divine vision being like a sealed book that nobody can seem to read. So we're definitely seeing a clear theme emerge here. God reveals these incredible truths to his prophets, but sometimes he tells them, okay, put this under lock and key. We're saving it for later.
And this is so crucial to understand. Sealing the book didn't mean the plan was uncertain or up in the air. It was the complete opposite. It meant that God's judgments were set in stone. They were determined, but they were just being held back, waiting for that perfect moment in history to finally be revealed and carried out.
And if we zoom in on the language itself, we find a fantastic clue. The command that John gets in the original Greek text of Revelation is this one word, sphragoson.
Now, this isn't a gentle suggestion, okay? It's a sharp, direct command. It means seal it and do it now. But here's the real kicker. It is the very same Greek word used in the Septuagint, that's the Greek version of the Old Testament, to command Daniel to seal his book. This creates this incredible, unbreakable link between all those sealed prophecies from the past and this very moment in Revelation.
All right, so if God commanded these books of judgment to be sealed, who in the world, or in heaven for that matter, has the authority to finally open them? This very question brings us to the absolute turning point of the entire biblical story. So you have this tension, right? On one hand, the scripture clearly says, the secret things belong to the Lord. But then, on the other hand, Revelation shows us someone who is finally found worthy to take that sealed book and break its seals. And why is he worthy? The text tells us, "For thou wast slain." We're talking, of course, about the Lamb, Jesus Christ. And this right here is the absolute key to the whole mystery. The Lamb doesn't just come along, unroll the scroll, and read the judgments out loud for everyone. No, it's so much more profound than that. He opens the seals by taking the full, crushing force of that judgment onto himself. He doesn't just reveal it, he absorbs it. So the big question is, when did this happen? When did this cosmic unsealing take place? When were the contents of those thunders, that righteous justice of God, finally poured out? Well, the answer is the single most pivotal event in all of human history, the cross. And you know what? Jesus himself connects these dots for us perfectly. Right before his crucifixion, he says it plain as day, "Now is the judgment of this world." And he directly links that judgment to being lifted up from the earth, which the gospel writer tells us was about the way he would die. The moment of judgment was the moment of the cross. So what you're seeing is this beautiful 3-act story. First, the judgments were sealed away back in the time of the prophets. Then second, they were executed, not on the world, but poured out completely on Jesus at the cross. And that finally leads to the 3rd act. Now the message can be proclaimed as an open book, as the gospel. And get this, at the exact moment Jesus died, something incredibly symbolic happened. The massive, thick veil hanging in the Jerusalem temple, the one that separated humanity from the very presence of God,
was ripped in two, from the top all the way down to the bottom. This wasn't something a person did. This was a divine declaration.
And that one single event signified so much. It meant access to God was now opened to everyone. It meant the final judgment was completely satisfied. The old covenant system was officially ended. And for what we're talking about today, it meant those sealed scrolls were finally and totally unlocked.
You can see how this act just transforms everything. What was once the secret, sealed book of impending judgment is now something completely different. It's an open book with a totally new message. And that leads to a brand new mission.
I mean, just look at the contrast. Before the cross, humanity was dealing with a sealed book, just waiting for a judgment to be revealed. But after the cross, we have an open book. And it's not about a work that's coming, it's about a work that is finished, and it's meant to be proclaimed to the whole world.
And this is exactly why the story shifts right after the vision of the thunders. John is handed a little book that is now open, and he's told he has to prophesy again. His entire mission fundamentally changed. It pivoted from the heavy burden of warning people about a judgment that's coming to the absolute freedom of announcing the good news, the gospel, of a judgment that has already been absorbed by the Lamb. So this brings the whole mystery to this really stunning personal conclusion. The command to seal the book wasn't about hiding the truth forever. It was about preserving it for the perfect moment of revelation, and that moment was the cross. The secret of the thunders wasn't some new list of punishments. It was the gospel message itself revealed through a finished work. Which, of course, leaves us with the final crucial question. If the sealed book of judgment has now become the open book of the gospel, what story are we supposed to be reading? And maybe more importantly, what message are we supposed to be proclaiming to the world today?